Hey folks, welcome to my video. And in this video I'm gonna talk about how I'm using Sequalize JS in my Node project. Sequalize JS is a modern ORM and I use it to manage my database queries and all the CRUD operations. So let's dive into it. The first topic I want to cover like how my app works, and this is more like a kitchen sink app for me. And if I need to experiment anything or create any try any new libraries, I mostly create this app again with that and try it out. So basically how this app works on a high level is there could be multiple users and there could be multiple rooms. Taking a pause here, so you can imagine this app. If you take a broader high level view, this is more like a to-do app where you can actually create rooms and users can be in different rooms and you can assign tasks to those users or a course in this case. So this is targeted for home management where you can actually create course and you can assign it to members of that house. So multiple users can belong to any rooms. In this example, user is the admin of this room, and user 1 and user 2 are members of this room. And for room 1, user 1 is admin and user 2 is just a member of that room. Then in this room, people can come and create tasks. When you create a task, you can assign it to a user. So in this case, core is assigned to user, core 1 is assigned to user 1, and in room 1, the core 2 which has been created is assigned to user number 1. So basically on a high level, that's how it works. Next, let's look into the APIs that my app is using and see how they work. So this app has got 4 APIs at the moment. The first one is create user. So this is when users sign up. We have to create a user in our database, and I create them using their username and email. In here, username is unique for each user, and that's the primary key in our database. Room, create room. So users can go and create a room. Whichever user creates a room becomes an admin. Add users to the room. So you can add a new user to the room. So an admin can add another user to the room. Next is add core. So when you create a core, like for example in this case clean dishes, and then you can assign it to the room. So it will be the room which you belong to and for which you create, and then the creator is the user who's creating it. Assigning, you can assign to any of the users in that room. Next up, let's look into our database on what are the tables and how they're built. So if I go back to my browser again and go back here, so I've got 3 tables in my database. Users, so users have got name, email, rooms, and course. So these are the course assigned to them and the rooms they belong to. And then rooms have got an ID, name, members, course, and admin. And then course have got the properties for the course. So the thing to identify here is the room. So this will be the primary key of that particular room, the ID, and similarly assignee would be the username of the user. Awesome. Let's jump into our code base. So this is a Koa.js app, and I'm using Postgres database with Sequalize here. So coming back to my index.js, you can see I have actually just imported Koa and initialized the Koa app and the router, and I'm using body parser to actually get the body JSON request body, and then in routes I'm passing router. So I'll show this part how I've done this, but the first thing we'll look into Sequalize, how we have initialized the Sequalize. So you can see I'm importing Sequalize here. So if we go in here and look, so I've created a models folder in that in my client.ts file. I've created Sequalize and I'm just initializing it like this. So I'm exporting it as a singleton, and the name of my database is Postgres. Username is Ajay Mathur, and I don't have a password in local right now. And then the host is localhost, dilate Postgres, and the port 5432. I come back here and then I do sequalize.sync. So this will actually create all the tables and for the models and we'll look into the models next, and it will do that. So in here I've given the option force true, and this is for my local testing. So this will actually wipe out all the database, all the tables, and create the fresh tables. So I wanted to do this so that I can keep on testing and create apps. Now let's look into the next part, routes. So I have initialized the core router, and then passed it into my routes. So in here then I attach the calls to them. So the first call you see create user, and in request I get username and email, and then I do await user.create. So let's look into my model, user model. So if I go here, this is how I've created Sequalize JS models, and you can see again they are in the model folder, users model. So I've extended the model here to use the class pattern, and these are all like typings, so these won't interfere with my code. I use this because I'm using TypeScript, and so that I can have strong typings. The important part for the Sequalize JS is this part. So you can see I am doing user.init, so this will actually define the attributes of my model. So I've got username, which is of type string, and it's a primary key, email string, and then rooms is an array of integers. So because this will be ID of the rooms this user belongs to, and then course, all the course assigned to this user, and again this will be ID from the course table, so it's integer. Similarly, I have created model for all the others. So for room we have got this model, a similar pattern, and I've got TypeScript typings here. Similarly for course model, I've done the same thing, created the model and created here. Now if we come back to our routes, so create user, we get the username and email, and we do user.create, and it will just create these values in the table. Now something interesting here to see is if we go back here, my table, my model name is user, but if we go into our database, which is here, so if I look into the description, so you can see the table name is users. Actually, the table's name is users. So the reason being, Sequalize JS actually makes it plural. So if you have user, it becomes users, same room become rooms, and core becomes cores. So it does that, and then we do user.create and enter the values. So this will actually enter the values in the table. Secondly, let's look into this API call and see how it works. So I'll start the database fresh. I'll start the app fresh, so it will wipe out the tables and we'll start fresh. So it created everything, as you can see, and we come back here. Let's look at description here. So we have got here. Now if I do collect star from users, it should be empty. I'm not sure why that happened. Select star from, it was users, not user. So if I do this, there's nothing in the database right now. So let's come back to our Insomnia and make the API call. So I'll create an API call, and I'll create user1, and I'll just get this email. So let's create. So the user is created. Now if we come to our table, and we can see that the user is created. Just for the next step, I'll create a couple of other users, user and user2. So if we do this, we have got 3 users here. Now let's come and look into our create room API. So create room API takes name, admin would be the user who created the thing, and right now my front end doesn't exist, but once it does, I'll handle this through cookies and change the app. But basically how it works is I create the room here. So you see I created the room, and it returns the object which is actually the created room. So this will actually have the ID and everything. So once this is done, and then I find the user by APK, so find the user by primary key, the user who created this room, and then update the user into room. So I add the user into that room, or make him in the users table also we have that room, so that we can cross reference it. So this was basically how we saw the first diagram, where each user, whenever they're admin, they're also part of that room. So if I come back here and let's just create room with the admin as user. So if I send this request, you can see that it's created. So we come here, select star from rooms. So you can see room is created and admin is user. So now if I do select star on users, you can see the user has this room in their table. So we can cross-reference this when in front end we are actually showing all the rooms for the user. We can just pick up from here and then reference those rooms in the rooms table. Coming back to our code again, let's look at the next one, add user to the room. So this one's interesting. So this one, what happens is when you add a user to the room, we also update the rooms table with the new user, and also the users table with that room ID, so that we can reference those. So we take the username which needs to be added to the room and the room ID to which we are adding. Once we get the room ID, we find out the rooms and we update the members of the room. Once we have updated it, then we actually find the user by username and we update the user table user model and add the room here. Once those are added, then we actually call save on these, and these are all promise. So I just do await promise.all and room save and user save. So if we come back here, we saw that we created the room. Let's add the user one to this room. So let's add user one, and coming back to rooms, let's confirm the room ID is 1 and user one doesn't belong in this room yet. So let's add him. So user is added. Now if I do select star from users, you can see user one also has the room ID 1 in their rooms column, and if I do select star from rooms, you can see the members is user one. So I'm using the username here, which is the primary key in the users table. Once this is done, now comes the most interesting part here, where we add cores. So this would be the task we add in the house, which could different people can pick it up. So basically I'm taking title would be the name of description, name of the core, and then room ID, creator would be the user who's creating it, assignee, and assignee would be to somebody who they can assign the task to. Then I can create the course in the course table. So the create will actually update the database course table and add it. So once I get the core, then I take the core ID and I update the room model with that particular core ID, and also the user with that core ID, so that core is added to the room and also to the user, so that we can find them easily, and then I save them both. So it's pretty cool. Now if I come back here, so let's say the core task which is created is clean dishes in the room 1, created is user and assigned to user 1. So let's do that. It's done. And if we come back to our table, let's see, select star from course. So you can see the core is created, and it's created by user and assigned to user 1. Now if I do users, you can see the user 1 has got course 1, which is the primary key to the course table, so which is clean dishes. And also if I do rooms, so you can see this room has got core 1. So these can be used by the front end. Few things to notice here about the ORM Sequalize that I really liked was I can actually use the class pattern. So I can use this extend the model here and declare my typings, which makes it strongly typed, which is pretty good. And also once I define everything, I don't need to really add the with Postgres other libraries, I have to actually, without ORM, I have to actually write the whole query. I can just do like get the rooms, find by primary key, get the rooms, and also it's promise based, so I can actually just create and save everything. So this is what I wanted to cover in this video, and happy to answer any questions. If there are any questions or doubts, please add them in comment and I'll get to them. Thank you.